Does the thought of teaching classroom counseling lessons give you fear, stress, or anxiety? Well, in this video, I'm going to share 10 tips to successfully present classroom counseling lessons at any grade level. And be sure to watch this video all the way to the end because I have 2 bonus tips that you're not going to want to miss. Let's go! Whenever you share a lesson, be sure that students, staff, and families have identified this topic as a need. This data comes from your needs assessment. Then be sure to share why students are learning about this topic and what they should be able to know, do, and understand after the lesson is over. Students need to be able to understand the rationale and how it connects to their everyday life experience. Tip number 2, begin with a calming activity. You can do some simple deep breathing exercises, or you can search YouTube and find videos from Mind Yeti and do stretches, deep breathing, or grounding techniques. And when I say grounding, I don't mean you've been punished because you didn't clean up your room. I mean activities that connect with your 5 senses, such as hearing, sight, touch, smell, and taste. These should be really quick exercises between 3 and 5 minutes, just to get your students in the mode for learning. Tip number 3, design eye-catching presentations. Want to keep their attention and focus? Be sure to make your presentations visually appealing. I use Canva, Slides Go, Slides Mania, and Slides Carnival to make my presentations pop. No one likes boring presentations, and best of all, these templates are free. Bonus tip for your presentations, please don't overload your slides with a ton of text, and do not read word for word information from your slides. Tip number 4, share things that are relevant to students. I share memes, GIFs, and pop culture references in all of my presentations. This makes it so students are interested in it because it's something that appeals to them. You have to know what your students like beforehand in order to put this in your presentation. You can easily find this out by sending a Google form to your students beforehand and just incorporating all those things into their presentations, like movies, video games, TV shows, cartoons, all of that. And our students love sports, so you can easily incorporate like sports references to your presentations too. You can go to jiffy.com and find some GIFs that you can use for your presentation. Tip number 5, monitor your talk time. The average attention span for middle school students is between 10 and 12 minutes. So that means keep your direct instruction under 10 minutes in order to keep their attention. Usually that just means breaking up your variety and don't talk as much. Which leads us into tip number 6, have a variety of activities. For early elementary school, you can do some hands-on activities like cut and paste, coloring, or using Play-Doh. For middle school and high school, you can do guided worksheets or group work. But the idea is to not have a simple lecture every single time that you go in and present to your students. Have them do or produce something as a result of the lesson that you shared. You can also break up the variety by adding YouTube videos. I would keep them really short, below 5 minutes, and be sure to have questions available for them to answer at the end so they can do some turn and talk and pair shares with their neighbors. Tip number 7, have a call and response when you want their attention. This is a great way to come back together after an activity such as a turn and talk or group work. A call and response is simply a phrase that you share out and then your students share something out that connects to that phrase. Our mascot is the Hawks, so our call and response is Spring Woods, and the students will say Hawks. I say my call and response, the students know to look at me, to stop what they're doing, and listen and focus. Whatever you choose, don't overuse it because it'll lose its effectiveness. You can find a number of these on Google. Some other examples are mac and cheese, everybody freeze, or hocus pocus, everybody focus. This is a bonus tip. After you've done your call and response, stop and make sure 100% of your students are tracking your focus. This is simply compliance that you can see. If you want them to put their pencils down, make sure 100% of the class have their pencils down. Don't continue your lesson until you have 100% focus. I know this sounds pretty easy, but it takes practice and you have to model it for them over and over again until they get it. Tip number 8, be clear and concise with your direction. This is one of the most important tips of this video. You have to keep your directions sweet, simple, and to the point. Try MVPT, which stands for movement, volume, participation, and time. Movement is what students should be doing throughout the lesson. Do you want them in their seats? Do you want them working in groups? Volume is the volume level that they should be talking at if they're doing like a think, pair, share, or working independently. Participation is exactly step-by-step what they should be doing. And time is the time limit that they have in order to complete the task. It's a good idea to keep MVPT on the board, and again, keep it very simple, short, and to the point. Tip number 9, have an exit ticket or a post test. This is simple. You can easily do a Google form, or you can play a game like Kahoot or Blooket. This simply assesses the learning of the students, and it's a great way to keep them connected and entertained. While learning, of course, this is also a great source of data for your comprehensive school counseling program. Tip number 10, practice before you share the lesson. You can either record yourself live and watch it back, or present your lesson to a family member, coworker, or a friend. Role play exactly what you want to say if you were presenting this lesson in front of a class or a group. This will give you direct feedback to understand if everything is clear and understandable when you're presenting it to someone else, because they'll be able to give you feedback. This will also help you cut out some things that are unnecessary or unclear. Bonus tip number 1, be genuine, use humor, and relax. Some counselors have not been teachers beforehand. I was a middle school Spanish teacher before I went into school counseling, so I learned a lot about classroom management through my experience as a teacher. But the main thing is just relax. Go in there and show your personality. Don't stress out. And again, use humor. One of the biggest takeaways from this video is just simply being prepared. And if you would like for me to share another video on how to manage disruptive behaviors during your lessons, type behavior in the comment section. In the meantime, check out this video with 6 classroom culture hacks for successful classroom lessons. In that video, I go into more details on how to build positive classroom culture. You'll want to check it out. And if you got value, please like this video. Not only does it tell YouTube what kind of content that you like, it also helps me understand what type of videos to create for you. And if you would like to support me in other ways, I love coffee, and you can buy me a coffee at this link right here. I would sincerely appreciate it because coffee helps my creative juices flow.